Excuse me, Stephanie? Did you get that? Did you see that email?
I did. I saw the email that Sergio's out sick, and so we don't have Alex either, but it sounds like Sergio's alternate could call in.
Yeah, Glenn. He said he would.
Okay, terrific. And so if we have Matthew Shapiro here, then we wouldn't necessarily need to have him call in.
Correct. I just didn't know. I just asked him to pop.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Morning, this is Glenn at the assessor.
Morning, Glenn.
Hi there. Sergio's sick, so I'm as good as you got.
We are glad we've got you.
And I thought he suggested that, well, if you guys have a quorum that you wouldn't need me, so I don't know if that's the case. Or I'm happy to stay, but if you have a quorum, I probably could go also.
Yeah, thank you so much for being so responsive and joining us via phone. We might have a quorum if we'll give it a few more minutes to see if Matthew Shapiro joins us. If he does, then we'll have a quorum and we can let you go. If not,
okay.
Hopefully it'll be a short meeting.
No problem. I kind of reviewed the items as well, so.
Thank you. And then we're also waiting. Oh, we have Kelly Kim here. Hi, Kelly. Good morning. County Council's here. Terrific. So we'll wait a few more minutes to see if Matthew Shapiro, who's our representative from the UC Cooperative Extension, joins us. Great. I have a quick question while we're waiting for to see if Matthew joins us. Callie, if we have Glenn here and Matt and David and I are present, can we move forward with looking at minutes? I believe we could, but I don't know. Yeah. Is that accurate?
You just wouldn't want anyone who hadn't attended the prior meeting to vote on whether to approve the minutes. So you could continue them or
okay, very good. If we start the meeting, I don't see Glenn's name on the calling, I guess just on the phone. I just don't see his name anywhere. So if we start the meeting and when we have Matthew join us, we could just make a note of that in the minutes.
Correct.
Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and start the meeting then. So call this meeting to order. Today is December 3rd, 2021. This is the Agricultural Preserve Advisory Committee. And Sharon, could we have roll call, please?
Yes, thank you, Stephanie. Stephanie Stark,
Here?
David Lackey,
Right here.
and Glenn Kennard.
Here?
Thank you. That's all I've got.
Okay, so we have a quorum. And before we get into public comment, I'm going to switch around the agenda for a minute and bring our attention to item number 7, which we need to address first up. This is the Brown Act virtual meeting requirement, and we've been advised by County Council to address this now. So this is a requirement by Assembly Bill 361, and I make a motion to find that APAC has reconsidered the circumstances of the state of emergency and that the state or local officials continue to impose or recommend measures to promote social distancing and direct staff to continue to notice and hold hearings to remote hearings consistent with Government Code Section 54953E3.
Can I just
Oh, yes.
stop?
Sure.
I don't think there's members of the public here to comment, but maybe we could check to make sure that there's no members of the public wishing to comment on this item before the vote.
I see. Are there any
No,
members?
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any members? Would you like me to see if there's public comment on any items not listed on the agenda at this time?
Just really focused on this Brown Act item before the
Okay.
vote.
Is there anybody who'd like to make public comment on this Brown Act item number listed as item number 7 on the agenda?
Stephanie, I
No.
haven't received anything.
Perfect.
Okay, so there was a motion on the floor and I'll second it.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Stephanie Stark,
Aye.
David Lackey,
Aye.
Glenn Kennard.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you.
Very good. So that brings us to item public comment. So is there anyone here from the public present who'd like to speak on a topic that's not on the agenda?
Stephanie, I didn't receive anything. Thank you.
Okay, very good. All right, and that brings us to, let's see, minutes. So we have 3 sets of minutes before us from the October 1st APAC meeting. And then we have we had a special meeting on October 29th, and then we also had our November meeting minutes. So we'll consider them one at a time. Are there any comments on the October 1st meeting minutes? I had one comment. Last page, under item number 4, the second action, last sentence states, it states an updated project description and site plan depicting that, oh, sorry, misspoke. That was a typo on that I thought was there, but it was not. So I misspoke. So any comments on the October 1st minutes?
I don't have any comments.
Okay. And how about the October 29th minutes?
I had a question, please, for Callie. Is that okay? It's so brief. I just need to put the motion and the makers and the vote, correct? For that special meeting?
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Any comments on November 5th meeting?
I
Okay, would someone like a motion?
have a
Sorry.
comment on the November 5th
Okay.
for item number 2.
Mhm.
So our second motion, or second item in the motion, was to revise the agenda project description title to delete guest house and add agriculture employee. So should that be reflected in this version of the minutes, showing it as a strike through in addition?
I haven't done that in the past.
Okay, you would just do it in the final minutes?
No, I wouldn't change it at all. It's from there here on then, the way we've done it, and in the way we do it in MBAR is that, this is the way it was. So from now, and Callie, correct me if I'm wrong, so from here on out, when it's referred to, it'll be referred to correctly. That's why we corrected it, because it was incorrect. I just haven't done that in the past. I've always left it, and then the planner is to correct whenever in referring to the project in the future. People won't
So
understand.
there was a change to the project that occurred at the meeting. Is that what happened?
The project description title was listed as Stagliano, single family dwelling, guest house, pool, and cabana and barn. And it should have not had guest house because they removed that from their project description, and it should have said agriculture employee dwelling instead. And so as part of our motion, we acknowledged that the project description had been changed, but it wasn't, the agendized item language was from a previous version. So, I guess as long as it's in the motion and that acknowledges that the action that the committee took was not on the guest house, but it was on the ag employee dwelling, I guess that's fine. I was just questioning whether or not there was a need to show that change in the actual agenda project description.
I agree with you. I think if it's clear in the motion, then you don't need to change it.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Okay, so that was my only question. I don't have any other questions or comments on the November 5th.
Thank you. Stephanie Stark,
Aye.
David Zaki, Glenn Kennard.
Well, I can say aye to the meeting that I was at, right? I think I did not attend the regular October or November meetings, so I'm not sure I can vote on this. Is that right?
I agree. I recommend that Glenn only vote to approve the minutes of the meeting that he attended.
Yeah, I was at that special meeting, I believe, which was the October 29th one, but otherwise I probably can't vote.
I had understood that was not necessarily the case, but I'll defer.
Well, I'm happy to vote if I can.
I know Maria always interjects with, as long as you feel that whatever is being
Yes.
reviewed is correct, that the vote, but Callie, your call. We can just continue those minutes if you'd like.
Yeah, my recommendation is for Glenn not to vote and to continue, but just for the meetings that he did not attend. But if you want to defer to Maria's advice, that's fine too. I don't see a big risk.
Stephanie, why don't we just take two separate motions, one to continue the October 1st and November 5th meeting minutes to the January meeting.
Yes, I second that motion. So we're bifurcating this or creating a
Right.
second motion. And then I make a motion to approve the October 29th, 2021 minutes.
And I second
And
that.
I second, yeah, okay. And I second David's first motion. So David had the first motion, I seconded it. And then I created the second motion for the 29th minutes and David seconded it.
Okay, so do we want to just have one more roll call for that?
I'm just gonna roll call it for all of it.
Very
That's
good.
fine.
Holly wants me, I mean, you made new motions, right? So.
Do
Listen,
it for both if there's a concern, so we can speed it up.
Stephanie Stark,
Aye.
David Lackey.
Aye.
Glenn Knarr.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0 to continue the October 1st, 2021 and the November 5th, 2021 to the January APAC meeting. And I will now take a motion for the October 29th. Stephanie Stark,
Aye.
David Lackey.
Aye.
Glenn Knarr.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0 to continue to approve the October 29th, 2021 special APAC meeting. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
So this takes us to our first item, which is a continued item. This is the Carlton new accessory dwelling unit. And we have here Will Carlton, Lucy Carlton, as well as Veronica King, who is our planner. And this is for Ag Preserve Contract 73 AP 014A. And it has a continued item from the August 13th meeting, as well as the October 1st and November 5th. And during the, I believe it was the October meeting, we asked for the committee considered the case and asked for additional information on the planting plan and to revise maps and area calculations demonstrating compliance with the non-agricultural development allowance. And we have received an ADU final site plan. So David's probably pulling that up. And in that plan, there are calculations for the, it's for the agricultural barn, as well as the residential residence, and then also for the ADU, proposed ADU. And to kind of refresh the committee's memory, this is a super prime contract, 12.3 acres. And Veronica, would you like to give us kind of anything else you'd like to talk about as far as what's been brought to the committee for additional information, consideration?
I don't have anything beyond that. I think the applicants have done their best to address your comments. I was personally a little confused about the driveway and whether that's included on the driveway leading to the ADU and whether you guys want that included or not, which I think the applicant told me that you guys had said in a previous meeting that it doesn't need to be included. So I'm a little confused there and I'm not sure what you guys were saying, but hopefully that can be clarified.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm available for other questions, but right now I don't have many other updates.
Okay. I had a question too about what's the current planted acreage? I see that on the plan, the information that was provided, there's, you have it broken out by year on how many square feet of additional plantings. And I calculated that up to be 8.44 acres. by the end of 2024.
It's a little confusing because that first, the 2022, that is already planted, but we were going to fill in more trees and plant more densely.
Okay. So that was, when I converted the square feet to acreage, I got 5.69 acres. Is that what's currently planted now? If you were to draw a polygon around the planted acres, I know you're increasing density.
I don't actually know. I mean, if that's what that, are you talking about the yellow shaded area?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then, but additionally, the acreage that is white is also planted. So it did. I mean, is that clear that that is already planted? The white around the house, around the barn, down
Oh,
all the way down to the line, to the property line. That is already planted.
okay. So do you have an acreage for that? I'm just trying to get a handle on what's currently planted and then the planting plan moving forward. Do you have a calculation for how much is planted now?
I mean, I think I have a rough estimate of it, and let me see what I said, what I thought it was.
Probably 2 to 3
So-
acres, honey.
They're already planted. No. That's it. Yeah. So, but more than that, it's more than half of the acreage is planted. I just, sorry, I did not bring that. I could look it up probably. But if you can see each photo, that you can see that all the way down to the bottom, there are mature trees at the bottom part that would be part of the white, and then that the spotty part, which we've already kind of replanted, that we would plant more densely.
Yes.
Let me see if.
It sounds
Let
like
me see
this
if I
is
can
the
find.
orchard that you're kind of reconditioning and rehabilitating.
Yes.
So we're trying to kind of
Yes, exactly.
to make sure we meet all
Let
the.
me see if I can. Let me see if I can find what number I put in. Again, I'm.
Okay.
Hang on. Sorry, should have thought to bring those.
Okay. Let's see. David, did you have any questions while Lucy's looking at that?
Sorry, I was muted.
If I could make a comment.
Sure. Go ahead, Mr. Carlton.
Yeah, I serve on the California Avocado Commission, and we have new information coming in to the commission about the ability to do high density planting. So I think once we get started at Lucy's house or at Lucy's acreage, we're going to talk about adding even more trees in a high density approach. It seems that they've had great success with some of the high density programs that they've put through in California, and increased production because of it. So I think we'll probably end up, instead of the 600 trees that we're planning on, we've already committed to, I think we'll probably put close to 1,000 trees in over the next 3 years.
Very good. Thank you for that information, Mr. Carlton.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I zoomed in at the home site just to kind of start some of the questions related to the envelope. So obviously the real issue is trying to get their existing development and the ADU in the non-ag development allowance. So looking at the home site, we had discussed about really the challenges of doing that within the existing, development, the front yard. So on the map site map that was provided, they're showing an envelope that really just mirrors the edges of the house itself. It excludes the front yard. And
Yes, because I've already let my lawn die, so I figure planting a couple trees and making it a productive area is not an issue.
right, so those areas that are being excluded from the envelope, and at least the claim that they're going to be brought into production, we need to see that in some type of planting plan. The backyard area that appears to be fenced off, are you planning to replant all of that area and fill in with density?
Yes, it's already planted with citrus right now, so we'll probably continue with that.
And so you're saying that you're going to plant these front yard areas that are right in front of your house with some type of trees?
Yes, yes. Again, I haven't watered my lawn in years, so it seems to be, it would be much more productive if it were a fruit tree instead of a dead lawn.
So can you describe, so now let's go to this road that's fronting the house and then extends up to this point. How is that currently used for?
Oh, so it actually, the reason that I excluded it was because it's a driveway that leads to that upper part of the orchard. So it's just, that is the way you access the top part of the orchard instead of having to drive all the way around. So it just leads directly into, I was wondering if you needed pictures of that or whatever, but it goes directly into a road that goes along into the orchard.
That's what I'm not picking up on this aerial photo. I mean, it looks like the road kind of just ends here. What happens going north? I mean, how does it continue?
I'm not seeing your photo right now, but it definitely does. And it's a big road. I mean, Edison drives its trucks through that driveway in front of my house into the orchard from that driveway. It's a significant road.
It's just shaded and you can't see it right now, kind of, in the picture.
I guess
Does it
it's in
continue north? I mean,
it's-
I don't see that on this aerial photo. How does it continue north unless does it do a jog to the east along the property line?
Lucy, can you see the aerial photo?
I
or
cannot.
Mr.
I cannot.
Carlton?
I saw it before, but I can't. I'm not seeing it right now. I'm sorry.
Okay, Mr. Carlton or Veronica, can
Yes,
you guys see?
yeah, I can see it, and it's not a marked road in any sense of the at all, but it is. We drive the trucks across it.
Yeah, it goes
down.
straight. If you followed the driveway line past my house, it goes straight, probably for another 100 yards, and then eventually it makes a jog to the right, and then continues all the way to the back of the property.
Yeah, it
But again,
doesn't
I'm
look-
sorry, I can't see the thing anymore to show you where it would go.
Okay, so I think
You can see that there's a lot of brown there, and we intend to turn that into orchard.
So to kind of back up so that I want to make sure the planner, Veronica's kind of understanding as well as the assessor's office. So what we're looking at is on the uniform rules, page 20 and page 21. So it's explaining that this is a situation where we're super prime property, and we are looking at a property that, what's the total acreage? It's
12.3.
Yeah, 12.3 acres. And so the maximum development allowed is, 13,000 square feet. And you can have a planting requirement, you have to have up to 9 acres. It's normally 6, but if you have up to 9, then you can be up to 13,000 square feet. And I know that you know that because that is on your site plan that you submitted to us. But we need to get to that 9 acres, and if you're going to have up to 13,000 square feet. And what's also included on page 20 of the uniform rules at the bottom, it does have special restrictions for super prime, so that it does say that the development envelope shall include the principal dwelling, landscaping, driveways, and accessory structures. So roads used for ag purposes are not included within the development envelope. But because it's such a small area, it's super prime, that any new ag employee housing or other agriculture related structures on super prime may be remotely sited as long as the total area occupied by these structures, when added to the area occupied by the principal dwelling and residential accessory structures, does not exceed that permitted amount of up to 13,000 square feet. So we're trying to get to the 9 acres, and we're trying to calculate out. And I think it was Veronica that asked the question, would that fire turnaround be included in that amount, that cap? Because it does say in here driveways. Was that your question, Veronica?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. And we're trying to understand where this this road is, because that has to be included. And that should be calculated on the plan so that we have a total amount.
So we could, are you saying that we could disallow the driveway since it's going, it's an
No,
an extension of?
It says
That was my understanding, because that was my understanding before, because that's why nobody, if we were forced to include the driveway, then the immediately the driveway from the road would be included, which doesn't make sense because how would you access the orchard at all?
David, maybe you have some input on this, but I think it is a little bit confusing the way it's phrased in the uniform rules, because the first sentence references the development envelope shall include principal dwelling, comma, landscaping, comma, driveways. And then it does say the second sentence, roads for ag purposes are not included within the development envelope.
Right.
So that's maybe a clarifying statement on the first one.
Right. So for roads or driveways, if they're dual use, we don't count those. And so for what's shown as the driveway that continues north past the home site and provides access to the orchards, sort of that whatever 8 or 10 foot width would not be counted. The fire turnaround is only being required because of the proposed ADU. It's not because of the agricultural uses. And so the committee has consistently looked at any changes to either the roadway width or turnarounds that are required because of a development application are counted towards the non-development envelope.
Okay.
So that fire turnaround portion that's
not in the roadway.
It's not in the
Correct.
roadway proper would have to be counted towards the square footage.
So if we move the fire turnaround more into the driveway, then we could disallow it. But any parts of it that were not in the driveway that are new, we would have to count those square footage.
Is that correct?
Well, yeah, the existing width of that, what you call the driveway or a road, that would not count. But fire department is requiring that you have additional area for turnarounds. All of that additional area for turnaround needs to be counted towards the non-development calculation.
Okay.
And I just wanted to back up.
That's a
So-
fairly small amount.
And is that
yeah,
driveway used for the ag production?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes,
we,
that's the way you access that's the way you access the upper part directly.
Okay.
So in general, the term driveways most often refers to just that portion from a road, whether it be a dual use road to the house, like or the garage. In this case, this is labeled as a driveway, but it also functions because it continues to provide access to the orchard. So that portion,
correct.
we're pretty clear that that is considered a dual use road and would not be counted. But as I said, the portion that's required by the fire department to provide fire turnaround will be counted. So to continue,
Okay.
other issues is that you can only have one non-development envelope. What you're showing here is sort of disconnect between the envelope for the primary dwelling and a new envelope for the ADU. Everything in between that would, it has to be one contiguous envelope. And so
that was my misunderstanding, because I thought because the barn was a separate entity that we could do them separately.
No, I mean, the barn is for an agricultural use, and that's why they're allowed to be separate, because of the need to have, there may be a need to have that on a separate portion of the property to support the agriculture. But the residential, the non-agricultural uses all need to be within a single contiguous envelope. And so the ADU location, obviously, if you kept it in that location, you'd have to extend this dashed red line to include the ADU and the portion of the fire turnaround, which is going to clearly exceed your 13,000 square foot allowance total. So that was part of the conversation, that you're either going to have to move that ADU close to where the house is currently, because it's going to be very challenging to fit the ADU and any fire turnaround in the marginal area you have for your 13,000 square foot total envelope.
Where would we place the fire turnaround? Where would we place the fire turnaround? Would that be behind the ADU?
I can't speak to where fire department
Yeah, it doesn't. I think, Dad, what they're saying is it doesn't matter where it's placed, as long as we're including that calculation that is not part of the existing road in our 13,000 square foot envelope.
So just going back to the aerial photo, I know, Ms. Carlton, you probably don't have that, but it looks like.
Sorry, I don't know why I could see it before and then I can't see it now.
I mean, it looks like on the north side of the house. I don't know if that's some flat concrete area or if that's a driveway. What's on the very north edge of the house?
It's just kind of it's not driveway yet. It's just kind of unplanted gravel, but it's not concrete yet. Or, I'm sorry?
That's all it is.
Just a little
gravel.
Yeah, it's a side yard of gravel.
Right. And so you're going to have to try to move that ADU as close to that area as possible, and then see what configuration for a turnaround they would require, whether it's going to be in between the current house and the ADU, or if you move the ADU almost like it's an attached ADU to the house, and then if you have a turnaround on the north end of the property. I'm not sure what the best configuration that they would recommend, but that's where you need to try to work and move ADU so that and the fire turnaround so that footprint is in one contiguous envelope. And the only way to do that is to move it almost as close as you can to the existing house.
I understand.
So, and also want to clarify, so that barn, even though the ag barn can be remotely sited, it's still included in that cap.
Correct.
Okay. And I had a question on that aerial photo. There was a little small structure up to the, what is that?
It was a chicken coop, I
I'm
think.
sorry, I can't see it.
It was a chicken coop, and it's broken down now, and we're going to remove it.
Okay.
Sorry,
So-
I can't see it. I have no idea. There is a dilapidated chicken coop somewhere out there.
Okay. So we've given you feedback about the development envelope, what needs to occur, more specific depiction, tightening that up, what would be included in that envelope. And we also gave you feedback about the planting. We need clarification. If you have current planted acreage, that should be depicted so that we know how much area is going to be planted total. So perhaps I think we're going to need to have this item come back again. And I just wanted we're going to probably craft a detailed motion to assist you. And we also have the planner here who can assist you. But I wanted to check back with Glenn to see if he had any questions or anything to add to the discussion.
No, nothing to add.
Okay.
And Ms. Carlton, I think it would be helpful. So right now I went back on the site, the colored site plan map. And Stephanie had
to color. Oh, sorry. I was guessing what you were going to say, but I'm sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I was just going to suggest that because there was questions about that lower area that has avocados and how much the acreage, if you could try to characterize the acreage in that lower third portion, and then also on this map, show the areas surrounding the existing house that are going to be replanted with either avocado or citrus.
Okay.
Particularly between the house and what's shown as the driveway road. But also you may want to show, because you said sort of in that backyard fenced area, you said it's been replanted with citrus. So maybe just indicate and show the planting that has occurred. Because right now it looks like it functions, it's fenced off. So it looks like it functions as a backyard. But if you can,
it is. It's definitely an egg area.
Right. So if you can show
Okay,
that it's
great. So show that the lower part, like make the lower part in some color so you don't think that it's not planted already, and then also show the planting nearby the house.
that you will be doing, correct? And then
Yes.
try to provide some square footage calculations for that sort of total collective area that's in or will be planted.
Veronica, is that clear what we're looking for?
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay. Because if Ms. Carlton can't see the map, I just want to make sure, we've had this item come back several times. We just want to make sure we get this right so that the next time will be
The last time.
the last time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, for timing, perhaps Sharon, you can give us a little insight. So the next meeting is January 7th.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the holiday, I just want to start with that one and see if that's possible for the applicant. When would the applicant need to submit their revised site plan and additional information by?
I'm the 20th, but if you could, but I would like it sooner. And I don't have I don't have a calendar in front of me. Hold on a second.
Yeah, the 17th is a Friday before that 20th, and the county's pretty much shut down the week of the 27th through the 31st.
Yeah,
And normally we want that information, what is it? If it was no holiday, we would probably be looking for the 24th, I think. But
no, I don't want any information on the 24th. I'm,
That would be a great Christmas present, no? I'm confused.
oh yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
forgot.
have 3 other hearings that all want to come on the 24th. Turn their information in. So
I'm sorry.
20th or sooner.
20th. 20th or sooner.
Is that possible, or do you want to move this to February? So I would rather give you more time and make sure we get it right than to rush it and we don't know what we need. We have to continue it again.
Well,
Again.
there is a problem. There is a problem in that we would have to contact the fire department in order to get their agreement on where to place that turnaround.
Understood.
So
Yeah.
But can we get the architect on this to do the drawing? Because I think Mike has been pretty responsive in the past, so we could probably get him to do that.
If you choose to do February 4th, Sharon, when would just so we're talking, we get the dates.
I don't have the schedule in front of me, Stephanie. I'm sorry. I don't have it.
I would rather try and do the 7th and rush it because, again, my dad's not getting any younger, and I would like him to be able to be there sooner rather than later.
I would think probably by the 17th. Does that sound
By the
reasonable?
17th, the 17th and not the 20th.
Yeah, I would go for the 17th.
So we have 2 weeks. Okay.
Yeah, you have 2
We
weeks.
also will need to review it first.
Yeah, so there's a whole process in place before we get the agenda out.
Yeah.
Okay. And Dad, do you think that's possible? Get it together in the next 2 weeks?
I don't have any problem with that. I do have a problem with moving the ADU closer to the house.
So that's going to require some re-engineering or talking to your folks.
All right. So we'll discuss that. And if we don't have it by the 17th, then we will just email you and ask to be continued to the 4th, or what would be the procedure? If we just don't have it by the 17th, okay, perfect.
Yes. Let's do that. Okay, is there any more deliberation amongst the county member or the committee members before we make a motion? David, could I put the touch on you? Would you be willing to make a motion, and if we could be as detailed as possible?
Sure. I move that we continue this item to the January 2022 APAC meeting, provide additional time for the consultant to revise the site map to depict the non-development agricultural envelope, includes the existing single-family dwelling, the proposed ADU, and any additional paving for fire turnaround that's outside the existing dual-use driveway. That has to be within an existing or in a single contiguous envelope. And collectively, that envelope plus the existing ag barn square footage shall not exceed 13,000 square feet. And then to also revise the site map to show additional planted acreage in the southern 1/3 portion of the property, in addition to additionally proposed plantings around the existing house, and then provided acreage calculation for that planting, collected planting area in the southern 1/3 of the property.
Can I amend that motion to include that the planted acreage should show 9 acres total?
That they would need to show that in order to receive the 13,000 square foot maximum non-ag development envelope.
Right.
Now, and I thought that in the past we said so that we could say that we are showing the 9 acres planted or being planned to be planted.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and just distinguish it in a different color of what's planted versus, I mean, sort of, you're kind of in that same situation where you've got sparse plantings and you're going to increase the density, but then you're going to also include new planting areas, particularly in around the house. So yeah,
So,
just
yeah,
make
so
it
folks,
clear.
we have a motion on the floor, so let's amend the motion and then we can talk about it. I also wanted to amend the motion to state that the meeting is for January 7th. Please. And is there any discussion from the committee members about the motion? Liberation. Okay, hearing none. Sharon, would you please take a roll call?
Sure. Stephanie Starr,
Aye.
David Aki,
Aye.
Glenn Kennard.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, thank you. Was there any more questions about the motion from the
No.
applicant?
Thank you.
Planner?
No, thank you. I
Okay.
think you're clear.
So what we'll do is we'll work with you, Sharon, make sure we get that motion straight. And we look forward to seeing you on January 7th. If you cannot make that submittal by the 17th, then let us know and we can continue it till the February meeting.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so this takes us to our first new item. This is is it Schultz or Schultz? Schultz ADU in Pool Cabana.
Craig, I
This
think.
is-
Thank
Okay.
you.
There we go. Yes, it's pronounced Schultz.
Oh, Schultz. Okay. Schultz ADU in Pool Cabana. We have Hugo Augusto, who's our planner, and he is here, as well as Brett Jones, agent for the owner, I presume Mr. Craig Schultz. And this is for a detached ADU in a Pool Cabana. So this looks like it's a non-prime contract. They're located at 7055 Fox and Canyon Road. There are 2 parcels associated with this ag preserve contract, number 01AP011. So we have several items submitted. One was a late submittal. APAC has, we have the ag activity supplement, the agenda request form, the assessor's map, new cattle lease, Pool Cabana pump test, and the 2-acre envelope site plan. So if we could ask the planner or the agent to give us a brief overview so that we can discuss the project.
Thank you, Stephanie. Let me first say it's actually one legal parcel with 2 APNs, I think 2 different tax areas. So one legal 100-acre non-prime contract. And Mr. Schultz bought the property earlier this year or closed and immediately did an assumption contract. So that's done. To explain the project here, I'm sorry, this one was late. The other packet for some reason wasn't showing, or you couldn't read it, the dotted line for the envelope. So on that other one is actually showing the pool. This one, I had to draw in the pool. This one is not showing the pool. But when David ultimately goes to the Google Earth image, you'll see the pool. Because obviously you need a pool to have a pool cabana. So directly to the southeast of the residence is the proposed location for the pool cabana. And then a little further to the southwest is the ADU. There's an existing ag road that comes along this spine and then kind of ends it continues all the way through the property, but there's an intersection of a really nice flat area where the ADU is proposed with, you know, a nice flat area, beautiful views. I know the envelope, you know, if we look at the definition, we talk about barbell and peninsula, and, you know, we're kind of showing a boomerang here. Our intent really is to save as much ag land. So, when, you know, when we look at that section in the uniform rules about preserving productive ag land to the maximum extent feasible, it almost contrasts us with the, you know, being a finger. But Craig and I'll discuss that a little more. But just to give you an overview, the well is down at the entry to the property, and then is pumped up, water is pumped up to a cistern, which is just directly north of the ADU location at that 797 elevation, and then is then gravity fed back down to the residence location there. There's an existing barn that is on the north side of the fire department turnaround. The barn is used, I should say the primary ag use currently and historically has been a cattle lease. When Craig got the property, there was a cattle lease under operation. He has renewed that. He is looking into, and he can discuss this more completely, planting vineyard on the property. But the barn is used as part of housing ag equipment, tractor, and then the, I don't know if you call it a gator or a razor, whatever it is, to get around the property to check on fences and cattle and such. So I think that's pretty much it. Craig, you have anything to add at this point?
Yes, one of the things I wanted to point out was there were several other locations that we considered for the pool cabana ADU, and one of them is that area just to the east of the main residence. And as you see, there's probably 1.5 acres to 2 acres there. Now, had we put something there, that would have almost completely ruined that area for future planting. That's like a prime level spot, but you know, if you kind of chop into it with some structures, you virtually make that area useless. By putting it where we're planning to put it, that whole field there is probably 10 to 12 acres. And by just putting the ADU in a little corner there, we're not ruining the entire area like we would if we'd put it to the east of the main residence. So that's really the primary reason. And also that area in between where there's that road, we can do plantings and grazing, you know, just in between that area. That's not going to be fenced off. That entire envelope won't be fenced off. In fact, it's not even now.
Yeah, I did a separate, real quick kind of calculation on if we were to do the cattle fencing around the house, around the cabana, and around the ADU, providing a little bit of landscaping area. I'm coming up with, again, those not being contiguous. However, we wouldn't want to fence the 2 acre envelope anyway. I'm coming up with only about 0.86 acres if you were to fence those 3 areas for cattle, leaving everything else open for cattle and or vineyard. So we'd be well under the 2 acre allowance.
Yeah, this type of layout definitely maximizes the available ag use for the land. and especially for planting. That's my end goal is to plant some vines on some of these level areas.
I had a quick question. When you were referencing where the well is, I wasn't clear. Where is that depicted? It's not depicted on the site plan, right?
I don't think so. It's
don't
down
believe-
by the entry.
It's on
So,
Foxen Canyon.
is there
Closer
anything
to
on
Foxen
here, Greg, that
Canyon.
would indicate it?
Yeah, right there.
Okay. And does that, you mentioned a cistern, and is that water also provided to the other parcel?
Yes, to both parcels. And there's a 10,000 gallon water tank you can see at the very highest point on the property.
And that structure that's immediately north of the turnaround, is that the barn you were referencing?
That's correct.
And then the cattle lease that you provided does expire at the end of November 2022. And what were you imagining? Were you imagining renewing that cattle lease, or?
I will probably renew for a portion of it, but ideally, I'd like to begin planting in some of these level areas on the south side of the property and on the east side of the property. And that large rectangular parcel, which is not shaded in red that you have there, that's also ours. I'll probably keep that for a while for cattle grazing until eventually, I mean, our goal is to just put as much vineyard in there as possible. But it's going to be a combination for a while. Sorry?
And is the property fenced at all for the cattle, either one?
Yes, it is. It's completely fenced, and there's even some areas where you can fence off within fenced areas. For example, the area
like to intensify the grazing or something?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, there's several areas like that, and that the first one is directly north of the barn. There's two fenced areas there, as you can see right there, where your mass is. Yeah, that spot there, and then just the other spot to the north as well, are individually fenced.
In this area here, David, that you have, since you're kind of right there, so the area that's directly to the east, is that the area that you're referencing as flat and that you're looking at putting vineyards there? And you
Yes.
considered it for the ADU?
That's correct. Yeah, that was considered for the ADU, but as you can see, that once you put something there, then you've kind of spoiled it for anything else. You've made it too small to be useful.
And one last question. You touched on this briefly. The agenda does reference the pool cabana, but where is the pool proposed? is that part of another?
It's existing, Stephanie, I'm sorry. The one plan doesn't show up, but it's just right there to the east of the house.
Oh, that's the pool. Oh, I see. Okay.
It has a pool cover on it.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So on this aerial, I guess it's the scale and just the map. So where is the proposed pool cabana going to be located in reference to where the existing pool is on this aerial?
Just
Right.
directly north of your hand, David. Just off of that
Right
road,
there.
right in that area.
So it's going to be outside this fenced area or inside it?
Right about where it is, right about where that fence is, probably just outside of it.
So maybe explain the decision to have it located. I'm not following the practicality of it, just from your decision point.
For the pool cabana, one of the things you want to do is be able to keep it at a similar level. And what we'll do is put a little trail from the pool area going across that road, and that's on the same level elevation. Where your mouse is right now is significantly lower, and you'd have to put stairs and steps and everything. So that's not really a suitable location there. But kind of where the gate is right now, that's where the pool cabana is, and it's real easy to put a little trail to go over to the pool, and so it's very easy for people to walk back and forth.
And I would just think you would want to put the pool cabana in close proximity to the pool itself.
What's showing there is actually a little bit of a hill. Just
Like
to
a
the
down slope?
where
Does it
there's
slope down?
the road starts to go up directly behind the house, but if you go straight south, you're not changing elevation. But if you go at all to the left, it rapidly rises where your mouse is now. So what we're trying to do is, yes, technically you could tuck it in there, but it wouldn't make it as easy for people to walk to and from it without going up and down stairs. We're trying to keep it on the same elevation.
It's hard to, I'm trying to, so is this just like flagstone that's in the backyard? I mean, what is
Yes. Yeah. And the rest is like oleander and stuff like that.
So there wasn't any room in sort of what the flat area of the backyard that wasn't appropriate
No,
for
not at all. And that area behind the pool slopes down dramatically.
So right now with the cattle lease, is that what the barn function as in supporting
That's correct.
the operation?
Uh-huh.
And the solar array, that's for dual use, both for the house and for
Yes, that's correct.
wells and things.
Yeah, we're 100% off grid, and our well pump is provided power through that solar array and the batteries. And I would say that about 75% of our electricity is dedicated or goes to that well pump. It takes a lot of energy to pump it all the way up the hill to that tank.
And this area, what is this?
That's the pump. I mean, not the pump, but the tank. That's the the 10,000 gallon
Okay.
tank. And then that small circle there is a cattle trough,
Okay.
the 300 gallon trough.
Are there other cattle troughs
Yes,
throughout the
there's
property?
one. There's several others. There's one just to the east of the
Oh,
driveway. Let's see, I don't know how else to describe it.
Oh, is it from that water storage tank? What direction?
Go to the right. Okay, it's the, of course, there's one down by the road on Fox and Canyon where the well is, right there. Yeah, and you can see it right there. See, there's a square fenced area
Right here.
right
Yeah.
there. That's it. That's the
Okay.
well that's fenced off. And then the water trough is right there. Cows love that one. And the one that's our favorite is right by the house, between the barn and the house, on the fence line. Just go to the move your mouse to the right, right there, right there. There's a trough there, and that's our favorite because we get to see the cattle.
Okay.
And then there's
Is
an
there one on
access
the
gate
other-
right there.
is there one on the other property as well? The other parcel?
Yeah, that's the
to
one
the west?
No, but
Oh, that's-
it's there's no fencing between it. That's the previous owner had a bunch of junk there. That's not there now.
Oh, okay.
I think he had a shipping container when he was packing up, and that's what was captured there. But there's nothing there now. The cattle that are on that large portion, they use the one that's at the top of the hill.
The one up here by the
Where
tank.
yeah, that's the one they use.
So I'm going to switch back to.
So when I looked at this, I think for me, what stood out the most is what was already stated, that issue with the ADU in particular being placed a distance away and creating a barbell or boomerang shape. And I'm hearing what you're saying about the reason why it's sounds like you have constraints with the slopes or wanting to have it on the same plane, as well as looking at, you looked at other locations, and that, if I understand, those were locations where you were looking at putting possibly a vineyard in, and it would
Correct.
minimize or reduce production or productivity if you had to put an ADU there.
Correct.
And that was the area specifically I heard mentioned to the east of the property.
Yeah, that's the
Were there
only other
any-
logical location.
Okay. Did you look at any other locations? Like, I'm looking like what we have before us here. It shows the topography. Did you look at other locations on the property to try and minimize anything that could add to the discussion? Like,
I think the other thing, Stephanie, is using that existing cattle road. So to improve that, there's an existing, you can see it there, that existing road. We're going to be using that road. So that, in our minds, also helps mitigate the development of the ADU, rather than having an ADU in a different location that we would have to put in a new driveway, fire department turnaround, and all of that.
David, with your experience on the committee, what kind of guidance can you kind of add to this in terms of interpretation of that uniform rule statement?
Before I get to that, ask Brett. So right now, from where the home site is and the fencing around it. Well, I mean, even that road isn't paved. So is fire department requiring that the road be paved all the way past, what is now currently dirt cattle road, be
Right.
paved
What-
as well as turnaround?
Yeah,
But
it'll be
we're-
required to be all weather. We're not tripping the 10% for paving, but it will have to be 12-foot wide, all weather, which, it's essentially 12-foot wide now. So there wouldn't be a lot of, change to the road besides it being like a chip seal or something like that. That
That'd be
would,
like a gravel.
continue to be used for the cattle operation as well.
I think they're calling out for 6 inches of road base. So I it as natural looking as possible and not make it look like a big giant road or a parking lot or anything like that. So trying to avoid that and keep it as natural looking as possible.
And that's you said a pretty consistent grade along that linear extent.
Yeah, that long portion there is really 6 to 8%.
And then it really flattens out right where your cursor is in that area.
Yeah.
Kind of there's a little road
Right.
dropping off to the south. And then heading
And
up
by utilizing that little flat spot there, adjacent to the road, that minimizes the grading that we'd have to do. So I really want to minimize any impact to the land with excessive grading. And so it's a perfect spot.
So yeah, I'm just not clear if there's going to be need to have, when you say that the width of that road is pretty much the extent, it's just going to have 6 inches of base being placed on it. I mean, I guess I'm
Correct.
concerned about any additional width that needs to be
No,
graded.
it won't be any
because of the
wider than what
slope you have
what
to
you
grade.
see.
Right. Okay.
I mean, what's showing there is really showing the beaten path where you drive on it. But when you stand there and look at it, it's wider than that. It's it's kind of been graded out wider than that. So it's a good, I mean, it's almost 18 feet in some places, 15 feet.
Question on that area that is the turnaround. So you had mentioned in the last project we looked at that if the turnaround was required as part of needed for the principal dwelling, that's included in the envelope. Is that because there is a barn here, does that mean that you wouldn't include it in? Normally APAC doesn't include it in the 2-acre.
You mean this up here,
Yeah.
Stephanie?
Yeah, the one that's depicted on the site plan that we were just looking at with the yellow highlights. Yeah, so it has that turnaround there.
Yeah, my thinking, Stephanie, was because that is an area where cattle comes up that section of driveway and dropped off there. I did not include that, thinking that we could include that as a dual purpose. I did not put that in the envelope.
Okay.
So I'm not exactly picturing, so you've got this fencing around the home site right now, but that seems different than what you're showing on your site plan with the yellow. That, are you using that
There's
same
actually
border?
we're going to tighten up the fencing a little more than what's shown there. And if you zoom into that satellite picture again, there's more fencing than there, then on the inside of that road up against the house, there's more fencing there, right there. There's fencing just outside of those bushes that goes all the way around. So there's really no need for the perimeter fencing, the additional perimeter fencing where the road is.
But if you had a cabana there, you would need to fence that.
Right, but we don't have to fence. We would change the fencing to be more similar to what's shown in yellow, with the exception of it going all the way up to the ADU.
So
And right-
when I go back to, oh, go ahead, Mr. Schultz.
I was going to say, right now too, we're having a big problem with pigs, so we're going to have to run a fence across that front lawn too. Keep the pigs out. We're just destroying it. And that's what's shown in yellow on the other plan. Is a fence
So what's
across
shown
the
in
front
yellow,
lawn.
is that on this outside perimeter of the trees? Or
Correct.
is it even tighter? Okay, so you're proposing that it follow the outside perimeter of these trees.
Correct. And actually what I'm proposing too is going across the front lawn, the front edge of the front lawn. And then there's also a fence that we're going to put where the grass and the bushes are. So the bushes will become more part of the available.
So
I
what
don't see a separate, go ahead, Brett.
Sorry, so what I was suggesting was the area around the house, fencing around the house, and then a separate area around the cabana, and a separate fencing around the ADU. When I total those three, that's where I'm coming up at the 0.86 acres.
That's what's shown on the site plan in yellow is
That's
sort
the
of
legal
not where
2
you're,
acre.
right. It's not necessarily where your fencing is going to be. It's
Exactly. Yeah, because
Right.
we wouldn't want a fence in between there. There would be no reason to do that.
right, right.
Yeah, I definitely want to keep that open.
All right. I don't see a separate garage for the house, so do you use the barn for personal vehicle use?
Nope. What's in there is a tractor and the quad and a workbench. When we drive up there, the cars just stay outside.
Glenn, did you have any questions about the project?
I guess not regarding the envelope. You guys have
Okay.
that in good detail. I just had one question. I know Sergio had noted that as of November 30th, he hadn't seen the assumption of contract recorded. And I think Brett mentioned it. I just wanted to check in to see what the status was for that.
I'm looking at, sorry, I just looked at the processing status for the assumption, and when I look at it on Acela, I just see that it was closed by Ben Singer on 7/21/21. So I had assumed it would have recorded by now. Craig, you have any idea?
I did receive it back, proof of recording, so it definitely was recorded.
Okay, good.
Okay, well then maybe Sergio just missed it. Do you have a date you think that would be helpful for me, and I could just send that to him, or not?
I don't recall the exact date of the recording, but
Okay.
I have that at my Burbank home. So
Well, we can find it. I guess somehow he missed it then, but I'll just put a note that it was.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I can provide it,
Thank
a copy to Brett, and he can forward it to you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Schultz. That'd be helpful. Any other questions, David? Or thoughts?
Uh,
Are you thinking we need to have a resubmittal for the fencing? Or,
well, I mean, this, yeah, I mean, this linear elbow boomerang, whatever you want to call it, you know, it's stretching development, you know, that at least that has been an issue in the past, and that's why the language in there, you know, in terms of contiguous, avoiding barbell configurations, and you know, so on looking at it, you know, it looks like it has those characteristics.
Well, a barbell would indicate that it would taper and then expand, but this
Essentially is doing that along the road. It's using a linear road to extend the development further into the property in a narrow way. You know, because you could easily use the same configuration because there isn't any, you know, fencing, and then just to fence the use itself, you could extend that proposed ADU even further down in, you know, some situations. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot of those. We used to just see it primarily in relationship to guest houses and primarily in Hollister Ranch. I think now with the new ADU allowances, that's what we're starting to see is proposals to stretch the envelope configuration so that that ADU is you know, remotely sited from the principal dwelling. We saw that on the last couple of months, a couple of examples of that. And so I think that's an issue. I mean, one of the things that this, you know, one of the contributing factors of that the rule tries to avoid is by extending that development, often you need to either widen roads or provide additional areas that would be paved, or fire turnarounds that are really directly only needed because you're proposing development out to that extent. That's not the case here because of at least the existing width of the road and that you're not having to pave it to provide access. So at least those issues, you know, aren't associated with this configuration. You know, just in terms of looking at, you know, contiguous envelope, you know, I know it doesn't meet at least the owner's design concepts for the layout, but I would think there would be areas closer to between the home site and the barn, and areas if you're just looking at, you know, trying to have a contiguous non-development envelope.
Well,
I think there
as
are
I mentioned,
areas.
there are, but those would reduce the overall availability of good planting areas, and that space right there, just where all the wording is the only other really suitable place that would be possible for the ADU. And if you put anything there, then that whole 1.5 to 2 acre level area would be, you know, there wouldn't be enough of it left to really utilize for planting.
Yeah, no, I was just more thinking about in this area, you know, that there's flat area within proximity to a home site where typically you see ADUs
Well,
in Pool Cabana. located in close
Like it's-
proximity to the house.
Yeah, the slope kind of prohibits it, and also would require a lot of extra grading and changing of the land, which I'm trying to avoid. Also trying to keep the views in mind.
I'm just going to throw an idea out there, just a thought.
Sure.
What about, would it be helpful if Brad or Mr. Schultz provided some sort of, I don't know if you're far along, how far along you are on the vineyard planting concept, but an area that shows and depicts where the vineyards might be, and you take in consideration our concerns about the that uniform rule 1-4 .1e. That's an idea, because it is kind of hard to tell. I mean, we do have the benefit of looking at the topography, but it is a little hard for us to tell. We're not on that property, but it's just a thought. If you had something that showed where the vineyards might be, and maybe give it some thought once it's all out on paper.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to provide that to show you even more, how this location has the least impact on the land. Because even if you tucked up, some space closer to the house, you'd be taking that entire space. Then we'd have an entire 2 acres that would be residential use. But the way we've kind of proposed to do it, as Brett mentioned, what is it? It's less than 1 acre that's actually impacted.
Mm-hmm. Can you, David, can you hover over that area that, and Mr. Schultz, if you could guide us exactly where you're looking at the ADU on the aerial photo?
Yeah.
Be right there. Mm-hmm.
Little bit to the right. No, right there. A little bit to the left. Right, perfect, right there. Maybe just a hair to the left.
Just below the road.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right there. Yeah, I'd say that's about it.
So is this what looks like a faint kind of road? Is that an actual usable road? Or is that
No,
just...
and that's funny, it shows up in that picture, but when you're on the property, you can't even really see it.
Right.
Yeah, it shows it as a dirt road, not a part on the site plan.
Yeah. It's hard to even see when you're here now.
David, what do you think about that idea with the vineyard? Is that, or Glenn, do you think that would be helpful? Or if not, I wouldn't want them to expend that extra energy.
I don't think we need to have them expend that energy. I mean, we're not looking at, I don't know the time frame that Mr. Schultz is contemplating that. What, and the fact that, if we're looking at things that we need to make a determination on, typically we'd, be wanting to sit, I think if it was a critical issue, we'd want more information on the timing of when, having some type of planting plan and concept and business plan of when that may be executed.
And I can certainly provide that. I have no objections to that whatsoever. And when we do a planting plan, I'm going to try to remove as much fences as possible. So because the fencing is really only there for the cattle, and the other parts of the property, which would be more suitable for cattle grazing, would be fenced off for cattle grazing.
So I'm unclear on how you're going to handle what looks like the existing perimeter fencing. Is that going to remain in place?
That would remain in place initially. But when vines, well, it actually would be tightened up considerably. That main perimeter fence that you see, that would come down. There's also one that's existing up by the edge of those bushes. Yeah, there's one there all the way around. And then right there, we'd put a gate across.
They put a gate and then but some of this would go away.
All
Like
that would
more
go
on-
away. And then the other fence would go where let's see, that would be the west side of the lawn. The fence would go across the front of the lawn, between the bushes and the lawn. And then there's also some existing fence that it would join to where the corner of the house is, where the west corner of the house is. So
Yeah, I mean, just the existing configuration of where the fencing is, because it does exclude the cattle, we typically would look at as part of the existing home site because you're excluding your cattle from
that's why I
that
say
area.
a lot of that has to come down. It's not needed at all because there's also interior fencing. All we have to do is just add the fencing across the front lawn and across the bushes, between the lawn and the bushes on the west side.
I'm assuming most of these are planted. I mean, they're landscaped.
Yeah, they're somewhat landscaped. They're kind of natural looking. I don't know, like I don't even know what you call them. But yeah, they're just very natural bushes.
So one thing I just wanted to point out, and I'm not sure how the committee's looked at this, but I think when we look at the aerial photo, I see kind of the way it is described by Mr. Schultz and Brett is kind of 3 spots where you have, minimal fencing around the home site and the residence and that interior fencing he was just describing. And then you would have some fencing around where the proposed pool cabana is. And then you would have some fencing around where the ADU is. But when you look at the way it's depicted on the site plan, it looks more boomerang. And I think that's artificial simply because they're trying to point out, and maybe because of previous discussions cases that have come before then, sort of showing what it would look like if you were to loop all those together. So I guess I'm getting into the weeds, but when you read the uniform rules, it says, in order to preserve productive ag land to the maximum extent feasible, the development envelope shall minimize intrusion into ag areas and minimize barbell, peninsula, and finger type configurations. Now, I don't know if they mean configuration if you were to connect all those together, or because it's just when you look at the two, they don't line up. They're not telling the same story is kind of what I'm pointing out. And these smaller areas, if they look at just the spots, the cattle are going the ways it's described now, the cattle would be going through, and or that's where vineyards would be. So I don't see it as affecting the productivity of the property. But if the committee has looked at it and as if you were to connect all those together, there's not going to be fencing there. Is that considered a configuration? How has the committee looked at that? I'm trying to be consistent.
Well, we have a concept of a contiguous envelope. So that language that you were talking about was in relationship to when you start stretching out uses further away from the principal dwelling. You get into necessarily, your 2-acre oval starts to get stretched into some configuration that's much more narrow and linear. And that's the reference to, you know, extending that development into agricultural areas, and the configuration. You know, certainly the fact that you have a pool cabana and maybe it gets fenced in a very small footprint, and then an ADU in a small footprint. You know, you could, you know, somebody could extrapolate that concept and, well, why don't we continue it all the way down this way? We're still staying along the roadway. You know, so it's an extension of those uses that are not related to agriculture into an agricultural area. And then often, like I said, I mean, with this concept, there doesn't appear to be a need to have either road widening or paving or other development infrastructure associated with that beyond just the footprint. But those are often the other, you know, concerns about, you know, extending that non-ag development. You would then have to, you know, widen existing 8-foot, you know, road to a 12-foot road to meet fire department standards. You know, you're taking land out of development for agriculture purposes. And so it, you know, it always is unique when you're looking at individual properties and how consistent or inconsistent it may be in terms of those. You know, I think you have to look at all the characteristics. I guess in this case, the things that help me to be less concerned is the fact that there isn't going to be a need to widen the existing road to meet any type of fire department or access standards, or change the, you know, the existing, you know, substantially change the existing surface to a paved asphalt. So those factors, I guess, help, you know, at least allay some of the issues that we typically see. But also, you know, just practically, you know, looking at shapes and sizes and locations, I could easily see being able to fit an ADU and a pool cabana in this area somewhere. And so, you know, obviously we're not the owner, and they have design and interest and concepts, and we're not trying to dictate that, other than how those may relate to the rules that we do have. So that, I mean, it's not, you know, I don't have a lot of, you know, I don't think this is a critical decision one way or the other. I don't think it's like pushing the envelope where we've seen some very extreme ones where you have to drive, you know, 5 minutes down to the guest house that we, you know, and that's really just, you know, not a practicality. Or I wouldn't want to have my guests come visit me that, you know, I have to get in my car and drive 5 minutes to get to their location. So I don't know. I mean,
thank you, David. Have you considered putting the ADU near the pool cabana? Can you talk a little bit about that?
It's really topography based. You know, certainly it could be located closer, but it's what we're trying to go for and is utilizing the topography of the land where it's the most level, and not turning it into a hillside home. So, you know, that's the goal. It's the least impact on the land. And when we drew that boomerang, we were very careful to make sure that it did not turn into a barbell, that it was not so much finger-like, but really just bent. And it's bent because of the topography, the way that natural road goes. So it does, of course, I understand the argument, oh, you could taper it and go all the way around the property, but then that's not that wouldn't be right. That's not what the code says. And that's not what we're after. So we were very careful to make sure that the proposed development stayed within a 2-acre envelope that was not barbell shaped at all, where it tapered down and then expanded around the property, but was, I guess, somewhat elliptical enough to include them all, but bent.
Okay. So is there any public comment on this item?
I
Ask
don't
that.
see anything, Stephanie.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to find the request for Schultz, ADU, and Pool Cabana consistent with the uniform rules, and the contract meets ongoing eligibility requirements. Is there a second?
I'll second.
So I heard no second.
Oh,
Motion
I said I'll-
dies. Oh, did
I
you
said
say
I'll-
second? I'm sorry. I thought that was Mr. Schultz joking. Okay.
It was me joking too.
So David Lackey seconded. Okay.
Stephanie
Roll
Stark,
call, please. Aye.
Stephanie Falk, David Lackey,
Aye.
Mr. Kanar,
Aye.
motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for being here, Hugo.
Thank you, Hugo. Okay, so we have, next item up is a McMurray Farm Employee Dwelling, and we have, let's see, Jennifer Siemens as the agent. Hi, Jennifer. Is the planner here, Kevin DeSantos, planner?
He is.
Oh, there he is. Thank you.
How's it going?
Okay, very good. Thank you so much for coming today. So we are here to consider this request for this new item. It's contract number 71AP06B, and this is for a farm employee dwelling located in Carpinteria. And it is 2 assessor parcel numbers, and it's like it totals just barely over 20 acres. And it's, so this is a prime contract, correct?
Well, is it super prime?
Well, maybe we shouldn't talk about that yet. That was one of my, I wasn't quite sure.
Oh, well, that seems important, right?
Yes.
Because I think I had it down as super prime.
I thought it was between 5 and 20 as super prime, but perhaps I'm misunderstanding that. Was one of my questions. Okay, so would Jennifer or Kevin, would you like to provide an overview to the committee on what you're proposing?
Do you want me to do it, Kevin?
Yeah, I think that'd be beneficial. I can chime in on any zoning matters.
Okay, so as you said, Stephanie, the parcel is 9.91 acres, and it shares a contract with the parcel adjacent to it that's 10.94 acres. And there is a little discrepancy on my application. There's more like 9 acres of avocados on the subject parcel, not 8. And then the parcel next to it is fully planted with 10 acres of avocados. We are proposing, or I should say the McMurrays are proposing to remove a dilapidated farm employee dwelling of 800 square feet and replace it with a new modular home farm employee dwelling of 1,498 square feet. So I was going under, I don't know why, I mean, I think it would be better if I was wrong, but I was going under the rules of super prime, and we were trying to stay at 10,000 square feet of development. And as you can see, we listed out the square footage of existing development. The main residence there is on the left-hand screen. It's about 2,280 square feet with an attached garage, 650. And then there's a little patio there, and then a storage building of, I think it says 1,200 square feet there. And then there's a couple tiny little structures next to it, next to the house, like a shed and a little playhouse. And before I talk about that lawn area, I'll move over to the ag transfer station. That's 3,672 square feet. And then you'll see the outlines in red are like these shipping containers that are used for storage and like tiny little sheds. And the owners, to stay under the 10,000 square feet, were willing to remove a couple of the shipping containers and relocate one of them under the ag transfer station because they have some extra room under there. So it wouldn't, add to the development area. But, this property has been in the family for decades, and it's very clear that the main and primary use is ag, and it's almost fully planted with avocados. So if we had to stay under the 10,000, to get us there, like I said, we were removing a couple of the containers, and we said that the McMurray said they'd be willing to plant out the little lawn area next to the main residence, which consists of about 1,500 square feet. And it gets us really close to that 10,000 square feet. It's just like they feel like they're being penalized for having that big ag transfer station when it's just ag. It's not anything they use personally, but it is commercial. But it really cuts into that 10,000. So, I guess that's about it. I don't know if Kevin has anything to add.
No, nothing to add at this point. That was a good summary.
Okay, so let's kind of tease out that prime or super prime contract question. When I'm reading the page 20 of the uniform rules, they talk about commercial production requirements set forth in section 1-2.3b. And there's a table following this section here, that table 1-4 with the development envelope. It says super prime parcels greater than 10 acres but less than 20 acres may increase their development envelope allocation by planting additional land to commercial production. And so when I look at that, so the table for development envelope allowances on super prime land, that since you have more than 20 acres, you have 20.85, that table would not apply. And you said that you have how many acres of planted acreage right now, Jennifer?
Well, 9 on the subject parcel and then 10 on the adjacent parcel.
Right. Okay. So that's for the planted requirement. And then so were you operating that were you under the assumption that if you had up to 19.5 acres, then you could have up to 20,000 square feet of development?
No.
No.
You know what I think? I was thinking that because our parcel itself is 9.91 acres, that we're subject to super prime, even though we share the contract with the adjacent parcel. So combined, they're 20.85 acres.
Right. Oh, so I see you were making the distinction because the parcel itself.
Mm-hmm.
So Jennifer, is the ownership the same on each of the parcels?
No, it's different ownership.
But it's under one contract,
Yeah.
correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna have to do an assumption for that too.
Well, I think that was done. I'll have to check, but see, I think
Okay.
well, this is all part of Bliss Lands, right? The McMurray, part of the Bliss family. And I think what happened was a few years ago, and I think it just recently got recorded, but they did a lot split between those two. And so it's, I think it's Tim Bliss that owns the one right next to it, below it here. And then Wendy McMurray and Tim McMurray own the one next to it. I can't, I'm not sure if they did an assumption, but they did do a lot split and kept it all under the same contract. It was just for like, you know, trust purposes or something.
So you're saying that, sorry, go ahead, David.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly can, I mean, if it's, I think that needs to be clear in terms of just the ownership. Is it the same owner? You can do for, you know, if you're the same owner, you can go through and do a lot split and set up your property. But if it's different ownerships, then you're going to have to get a replacement contract, and the other one's going to have to get a new contract.
So do you, but my question is, I would think that this has already been through your process, because they couldn't have gotten a lot split without going through APAC, right? And my question is, so couldn't they have done the lot split and then kept the two properties because they're adjacent under the same contract? Because that's what it's showing on these. What's that?
They could do that if it was the same ownership.
Oh, but not if they're not the same owner.
Right, you can only have one owner per contract. So if that's the reason why, you know, if you have two parcels and sell one off, that you need to have, you know, get separate contracts for that. Same, I don't know if that's the situation here, was where they did the lot split and then there was, even though they're probably the same families, there's different entity ownerships. If that's the case, which it sounds like it is, then they would need to deal with and have get a replacement contract and a new contract.
Well, they would need to qualify. For each replacement contract would need to qualify, because now they would be for sure super prime.
Right. Yeah, I mean, just looking at, you know, and obviously this is our photo mapper information. It just says Bliss Land Inc. for parcel 38, and for parcel 37, Bliss Lands Inc. And they show the same, you know, so that information, and it shows the same Ag Preserve contract number. It, on its face value, looks like it's a single ownership, but you have indicated that they're different ownerships.
Well, I wish they were here. That could be the case. The way that she's, I mean, maybe for, like I said, it's like family property. So maybe for personal records, you know, her brother owns that one and she owns that one, but maybe it's all under the same trust,
or something.
Yeah,
Glenn, do you have anything in your records showing current assessor records? What's the ownership situation on these two parcels?
because I do know I mean, it shows that they're under the same contract.
Glenn, are you there?
I'm here. I'm sorry. I wasn't sure I didn't hear my name, but I heard assessor. So I'm just looking at the parcels and, you know, our title transfer department would change the ownership structure, but both parcels show Bliss Lands Inc. right now.
Okay, so it is under one ownership. So to clarify, David, if it's under one ownership and we have the two parcels together, because that's one premises, that's the ag preserve premises, and it's under one contract, that would be a prime contract, correct? Not a super prime.
Correct.
Okay. So to clarify, Jennifer, if they had plans to sell them, maybe they are two parcels, they need to qualify, come to APAC, and they would have to qualify as separate individual contracts.
Okay. Well, I can definitely clarify that.
Yeah, right now it appears that it's, but just for future planning, and we're happy to talk offline if you have more questions about that, but right now it's considered one premises, and we look at it as if you have, you know, 20.85 acres, and we look at how much development is allowed for that whole 20 acres.
Right.
And then,
Just I caught up on the other ag preserve contracts around it, you know, to make up the 40. So there's adjacent contracts
Right.
around it to make up the 40.
so a 40 acres makes up a prime contract, and you kind of piggyback with adjacent parcels to make up that 40. But your contract, your premises itself is not considered super prime, it's considered prime.
So then are we subject to the 2 acre non-ag?
You're
It's
actually-
3%. It's
Yeah.
3% of your acreage, so you'd have to do 3% of whatever your 20.
Yeah, and the 3% of 20.85 acres is 0.65 acres or 0.63 acres. And that's the allowable amount of non-agricultural development.
Right, and the other benefit of being under prime is that you're not going to count your ag transfer building or any of the ag support structures towards your envelope. So that'll give you more wiggle room.
So,
Right, and
go ahead.
as David, I was just going to chime in, as David was saying, it wouldn't include that ag transfer station or any storage buildings that are, or farm employee dwelling buildings that are proposed or existing that are to support the agricultural production on the premises.
So we basically just draw the circle around the non-ag development and show that it's less than 0.63.
Correct.
Maximum 0.63.
Or any roads that are just dedicated to that, accessing that dwelling and are not used for the production agriculture.
So Jennifer, there doesn't appear to be any structures on the lower parcel 38, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So like we're looking at that, if you look, I'm looking at your exhibit here where it has the aerial photo kind of overlaid. So really the ones that you would count, let's let David get that up there.
Yeah, I'm having a problem with my, that's not what I want. Yeah, I'm not sure why I'm having problems.
Okay. So just sort of listing them off. So that would be your main house garage, your main house patio, the playhouse. What's the storage building for?
That's ag related.
Okay, so that wouldn't be included. Ag transfer station wouldn't be included in that envelope. This storage shed with the 180 square feet, is that for personal use or non-agricultural use?
I'm not sure. That's just
Okay.
a little tiny little shed.
Yeah, it's a tiny little shed, and it's over kind of by where the farm worker residence is being proposed.
Oh yeah, there's a few over there, a few little sheds.
Yeah, it's number, is that E?
Oh, that's just to say existing. Yeah, those are all
Yeah.
ag over there. I thought you were
Okay.
talking about this little one over by
Okay.
the house.
So yeah, it's really this, I think this one over the house, because even that driveway that's the access for the property off Casitas Pass, that's adjacent to Orchard, so it appears that it could be
Yeah.
considered dual use road, so that would not be considered as part of that non-agricultural development. Okay, and so if you added up that main house, garage.
Stephanie, just to, missed the first part of your discussion around what you thought would and would not count around the main house. I agree, obviously, this access road. I think once you get closer to the house, I mean, this paved area is probably related, and same with this landscape area is related to the house. I
Good
think
point.
you have enough. And then questionably, it looks like this little driveway is for parking for the house. So it may not come down to it, but I mean, something, in and around there, would probably, look at the envelope, but I would say probably at least the paved, some portion of that paved portion needs to be attributed to the house.
Right, yeah, thanks for clarification.
But I think, yeah, since we're looking at prime, I think that shouldn't be a problem now in terms of fitting it in with the 0.63 or whatever the number was.
So do I need to come back with just revised paperwork that's correctly identifying this as prime and then circle that and get on the January 7th meeting?
Let me just do a quick, see if I can do a quick measurement. And
Yeah, it's going to be well within that.
I think, yeah, I agree.
That's over 27,000 square feet, and that house is only like 2280 plus a 650 garage.
What's this? Just on the aerial photo, the white building here.
That's ag storage. It's 1,200 square feet.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was just looking at, so 3% of the 20.85 is 0.63 acres or 27,443 square feet.
Right.
Yeah, so just my rough rudimentary envelope here is 0.34 acres. So I think, yeah, I think it's pretty clear that it meets the non-development ag envelope. So I would just, if we get to that point on the motion, I think we could just have that be confirmed. You can add that envelope to the map and submit it to your planner. But you wouldn't necessarily need to come back to the committee.
Okay.
And that would be that we've done that approach, and I think that's appropriate for the situation. But I'd like to get the other committee members' concurrence that that's appropriate.
Glenn, did you have any input on that? Any thoughts?
I think David's plan sounds good to me.
Okay.
I concur.
Yeah, I'm ready to make a motion. Do we want to see if there's any comments from the public or questions?
Are there any comments from the public on this item?
I don't have anything. Thank you, Stephanie.
Okay, thank you.
I would make a motion that the committee find the request for the farm employee dwelling consistent with the uniform rules, and that the, I guess, contingent upon the applicant advising the site plan to depict the non-development ag envelope and acreage calculation associated with that, and submit that to the planner.
And I would consider, let's see, maybe, is there a uniform rule we would cite? Let's see, it would be, okay, it would be 1-4.1. Yes, B1.
Okay, yeah, so I'd amend my motion to include that uniform rule reference and then add to my motion, and the committee finds the contract 71 AP 060B meets ongoing eligibility requirements.
I second that motion.
Stephanie Starr,
Aye.
David Lackey.
Aye.
Glenn Kennar.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jennifer. Kevin, did you have any questions about that, or?
No, that seems pretty clear. I'll work with with Jennifer on this and make sure this all gets completed.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank
Great,
you.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very well. So we've already addressed item number 7. So we are on to item number 8. Are there any reports from committee members?
Just as a informational report, I guess. We typically we try to do it once a year, but we haven't done it in 2 years. Sort of a training, a Williamson Act and uniform rules training for planning and development staff. So we're planning to do that in January. It's primarily for a lot of the new hires, but anybody is welcome to attend. And so Stephanie has graciously agreed to co-present with me at that training. So we'll be doing that January 19th.
David, thanks for mentioning that. Would that be something that our staff could join in on?
Yes, definitely. I'll send you the link. So we're just going to use Microsoft Teams and do the training, but I'll make sure I send you the link and you could forward it to anybody else.
Okay.
Probably not to, well, I guess, Callie, I'm just trying to avoid any type of Brown Act issue with having multiple or a quorum of members participating or attending the training. Is there any concern?
I think if there's no discussions related to, particular projects, and it's just sort of like attending a conference, that would be okay.
Okay, great.
Hey, David, what's the extent of the training? Is it going to include getting me information when it's due? Did we?
Yes.
Okay, I'm blanking. Did we figure out a new date that it needs to be turned in, or is that still being? Because it was so tight.
Yeah, we haven't. We can talk more offline about that, but yeah, in general, we're going to try to at least talk about just, some of the current best practices that the planner has in terms of responsibilities and some of the timelines, and acknowledging that we're working on improving some of the processes. But Stephanie and I will touch base with you because we'll definitely want to weave you in on some of that.
Okay, great. I'm super happy to hear this.
Mhm. Great, thank you. And yeah, and Glenn, I'll forward you the meeting invite.
Yes.
Thank you, David.
Glenn, did you have any items to report on?
No, nothing to add.
I did have a question. I wanted to find out the Novat equestrian facility that was supposed to come to the December meeting. I just wanted to do a little housekeeping check and make sure that's, was that on our
Was it on the
tracking?
inspection report?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, was it on the projection report? Did I
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I was trying to check, but I'm having trouble logging into Box, but it was addressed at our October meeting.
Do you remember the
And
person on that?
Yes, Tina Mitchell.
Wow, I'm surprised she didn't say something to me. Okay,
And Brett didn't say anything either. So
okay.
that was one of Brett's projects.
Yeah, they were going to come back to provide an opportunity, reconsider the parking area, provide a revised site plan, alternatives. So I just want to make sure we didn't drop that.
I will touch base with Tina and then I will I'll add it to the January 7th unless, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. And then our next meeting, we were going to talk again, I believe, about the owner-initiated non-renewal form. And Callie, can you confirm if Maria will be at the January meeting?
I believe
Not
she
that we
will.
don't love you. Okay.
Yeah, so that should be Maria, and Bo should be back by your February meeting.
Oh, okay. Terrific. Wow. Okay.
So I think I'm third in line. You'll only find me if there's no Maria, no Bo, but hope to talk to you again
Thank
someday.
you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Okay, is there anything else? Any reports? We adjourn.
Thank you, everyone.
11:16,
you,
we'll
everyone.
adjourn. All right, thank you. Have a good holiday,
Okay, thank
everybody.
you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye.